What's going on there, everybody? I was going through, doing my thing, looking at the news all over the internet, and ran across this interesting article to me. It's interesting on a couple different ways, but it's my Senator of Virginia, Mark Warner, Democrat, one who is clearly suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, among possible other things. But the headline is Warner, enormous amounts of evidence of possible Russia collusion. That statement in itself is retarded. Enormous amounts of evidence of possible Russia collusion. Is there evidence of Russia collusion or not? Of possible, that makes this whole statement retarded. Either you have the evidence or you have no evidence. There's been quite a few different entities that have been investigating this for over 2 years now, so either you have evidence or you don't. But yeah, top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee said Sunday lawmakers have found enormous amounts of evidence into potential collusion between presidential campaign of Donald Trump and the Russians during 2016 election. My goodness. They found enormous amounts of evidence into, once again, a stupid word, potential collusion. You can't. How are you going to have a factual argument with these type of little sentence enhancer words that also, direct questionability to everything? They're not that smart on how they're framing this. And I could have swore, see, he's on the Senate Intel Committee. Didn't this just happen? Right here. Right here. Senate has uncovered no direct evidence of conspiracy between Trump campaign and Russia. And look who happens to be right there in the picture. Love that. It's Mark Warner. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. So right here it says, after 2 years and 200 interviews, the Senate Intelligence Committee is approaching the end of its investigation into the 2016 election, having uncovered no direct evidence of a conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russia, according to both Democrats and Republicans on the committee. Now, this has wrapped up. This article was from the 29th of January. So this is already wrapped up by now. The only thing we're waiting for is Mueller, which it looks like that's not going to hold any evidence to Russian collusion either. And I think one thing everyone keeps forgetting is collusion in itself is not a crime. Politicians do this all the time. That one thing that popped up right here is from the Hillary campaign back in 2016. The Clinton campaign sought dirt on Donald Trump from Russian officials. Now all this has came out to be true. This story, to me, shows where the true collusion, as collusion, where it was, or who it was with. It wasn't with Trump and Russia, it was with the Hillary campaign and Russia. But they don't want to ever talk about this because it doesn't fit their narratives, and they are a narrative-based party. Yeah, it's just, this article goes on to tell you how they used all these different entities to try to provide that phony dossier that is proven to be phony, that they still used to get a FISA warrant, and they're still using for the Russian conspiracy investigation. A fake dossier that has been proven to be fake, and they're still using that as evidence. isn't the FBI supposed to be one of our top law enforcement agencies? And they're knowingly and willingly using a fake document. Don't get me started in that. That's complete ridiculousness. All of Washington is waiting and batting breath to find out whether the Mueller investigation will provide evidence proving that the Trump campaign colluded with Russia. So far, Exhibit A against President Trump is the meeting Donald Trump Jr., Jared Kushner, and Paul Manafort had with a group of Russians claiming to have dirt on Hillary Clinton. That meeting should have never have happened. When you get an email offering to provide very high level and sensitive information from the Crown Prosecutor of Russia, that could incriminate Hillary Clinton and is part of Russia and its government support for Mr. Trump. You don't reply by saying, "I love it." You call the FBI. Okay, well, not everyone would do that. Pretty sure that is exactly what most politicians and political leaders that are running for office do. This isn't new things. This isn't like nuance or anything like that. This happens all the time, and America is really well known for doing these type of things to affect foreign elections. We do it all the time. We do it all the time. But we go ape when anybody does it to us. And I think that's kind of funny. Practice what you preach. But as bad as the Trump Tower meeting was, it took place at the request of the Russians. They were the ones who approached the Trump campaign, not the other way around. By contrast, the Clinton campaign proactively sought dirt on Trump from the Russian government, sources said. They did it through cutouts. In April 2016, Clinton campaign lawyer Mark Ellis retained opposition research firm Fusion GPS to compile incriminating information on Trump. Fusion GPS in turn hired Christopher Steele, a former British MI6 operative with sources among the Russian government officials. The result was the salacious dossier, whose sources included a senior Russian foreign military figure, a former top-level intelligence officer still active in the Kremlin. Steele's work was paid for by Clinton's presidential campaign and Democratic National Committee. That means a paid agent of the Clinton campaign approached Russian officials for damning material on Trump. Now, like I said again, or previously, who was doing the actual colluding here? Because you can clearly see that the DNC and the Clinton campaign were proactively seeking out people, foreign entities, to get dirt on Trump. That would be collusion if collusion was an actual crime. But that's where your collusion would lie. All this about collusion this, collusion that, this, that, and the other, Russia bad, Orange Man bad. This is all just to keep people distracted. That's all it is. This is all a big distraction. Because what they're doing is they're trying to keep people who are on the fence about the president and his policies and the things that he's done, the people who see what has actually happened positively in the country. Those people are being suppressed mentally by constant articles and media reports about the Russian collusion scandal. That's all this is. It's nothing. It is nothing. There's nothing there. Over 2 years of investigations have found nothing. And the Democrats still say there's unimaginable amounts of evidence proving the link between Trump and Russia, which there's really not. There's just not. It's not there. There's mountains of evidence against the Democrats and Russian collusion in the 2016 presidential campaign. But they're not going to talk about that, especially on the legacy media. They're just not going to talk about it at all because it doesn't fit the narrative. You know, Orange Man bad. Everything. Everything Orange Man is bad. That's what they always think. That's what they're going to continue to think. Even when the evidence is mounting the opposite way. And you've seen this, you see it in all kinds of cases. You see it in all kinds of cases. It's just left versus the right. That's how it always is now. It's kind of ridiculous. But I can't wait to get that Mueller report. I can't wait because we all know there's going to be nothing in it. They would be hyping it much more. And they're not. Because they know no collusion was found. And they're not going to take it. They're not going to allow that just to be the end all. Because that's not their goal here. Their goal is to have all this stuff just drag on into the 2020 presidential election. Because they have nothing. They have nothing. They have no policies or nothing to prop up that are any good. They have nothing. They're running on fear. They say that this is what President Trump runs on. But he doesn't run on fear. He runs on security. There's a big difference. Y'all on the left happen to run on fear. What is it? Narratives. They just ain't running on much. Identity politics. I mean, socialism. Free shit. That's about all y'all have to offer. And when I hear come across the news and say, it's always Democrat pundits saying it, but they always say that the Republicans and conservatives have no policy. They have nothing to run on. We could run on the same things we ran on in 2016. Profitable economy, bringing more jobs back, which have been happening, keep doing good with taxes and tax reform, defending the Constitution, which is always under attack from the left now, and giving the people the freedom that we have, instead of trying to take freedoms away like the left's trying to do. But this is divulging into a rant about right and left politics. But I just wanted to say that the left have truly lost their minds with Trump derangement syndrome. Even years worth of investigations is not changing their mind. They just can't let go of something that never was there to begin with. And I guess I'll close on that. As always, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all on the flip side.